better, and it allows me to express myself, my creativity, and also I'm influenced by like pop culture, so music, movies, even cartoons from my childhood. I try to put that into my artwork and have people integrate that into their lifestyle and to show off what I'm able to do. So customizing and personalizing things for people and bringing things to life, things that they wish that they could have, but they don't exactly exist. I thrive in making those things come to life for them. So my shop is located in Merritt Island Square Mall. We just opened up, like I said, maybe 7 months ago. But my main passion is doing the vinyl car wraps and maybe screen printing the shirts, because it takes a lot of detail and it takes a lot of intricate steps, and I like to express those things. And I like to work with my hands. I'm an artist, and in this industry, it's more like standing out by bringing your own twist to it, because there's a lot of people who want to do the same, are interested in doing the same thing, but they're just in it for the business, or they're just in it for the cash side of it. But I have more of a passion for the art, and the business is also a bonus. But being able to work for myself and be an entrepreneur and call my own shots and being able to show my vision and make something for the new generation is something that I'm really, really proud of, and I'm very happy for. And I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to even do these things. So I'm happy to be here today to be able to explain a little bit more about my company and what we do. And I also think that it'll be interesting to see other people put their ideas up, and being able to work with other artists and bring that in also to the industry. I think that'll be a great idea.
So I got a question, because I'm loving the going on with the Chicago Bulls hat, the red sweater. What is it? When did your passion start with clothing apparel?
With clothing apparel, well, like I said, I was influenced a lot by pop culture, and growing up in the South Bronx in New York, fashion is a big thing in New York, and just seeing all the bigger names and all the flashier people, and I always thought that being able to be myself and express that through my clothing or through how I look, then I think that's one of my main influences. And this is basically New York swag mixed with a little bit of artistry, because I do everything, man, from cartoons to anime to shirts to vinyl wraps, and I try to put it all together, So I'm very eccentric, and I'm very far left and right at the same time when it comes to ideas.
Of course. We all love the artist, and we all started from somewhere. And of course, with your case, it's in the Bronx. With that being said, your childhood, there's an influence that came with this passion. How would you describe that, your childhood that helped you with that influence?
My childhood, it definitely helped, because growing up, I was able to see a lot. I was fortunate to be able to travel early age. I was able to travel to many countries, many states. I was playing baseball at the time, so I was able to see what a lot of other people in New York in my situation wasn't able to see, because a lot of people didn't leave the neighborhood. So being able to see everything from the bottom all the way to middle class to the highest classes of society, and it gave me an idea of where I wanted to go. Because I know I'm at the bottom when I started, and I'm seeing the possibilities in life. I'm actually traveling. I'm seeing that there's more people, there's more culture, there's more to be held. Mm-hmm. And I try to bring that back to my neighborhood, and there's people there who've never seen these things, and so that started the spark in me that made me feel like I want to bring all these things together and show people that there's more out there than just being, stuck into your own environment, which is a big issue in environments that I came from and where I grew up at.
So is that the motivation then with what you got going on for yourself?
Absolutely, it's to leave a legacy, and it's also to bring back some sort of community within people, because we're so caught up in our everyday lives, and we lose that sense of self and who we really want to be, because you have to work, you have to pay your bills. But I still want people to know that we could be ourselves and express ourselves and be able to show the things that we love and do it openly.
I feel that. Trying to think, because I see the passion, I see the art, just again in your appearance alone. Um, but there's a lot more going on up here. Like, you got the creative look going on, but you got a business mindset. How did you start this business?
Well, to be honest, starting, like I said, this business just opened its doors about 5 to 6 months ago, but it's been in process for about 7 years. And to be honest, in the beginning, it was probably about 2 years, 3 years of just thinking. I don't want people to understand that. That's work too. It was just a lot of planning and thinking and just passionately going over all the details without even doing a physical thing. I didn't own a product, I didn't own a machine, I didn't own anything yet. And then I finally decided, I took the leap and I made a major investment into some equipment. And from there, it was no turning back. So after that, it was doing the work. Doing the work was the most important. Because a lot of people spoke about it, and then the pandemic hit, and I seen a big change in people where there was a lot of people trying to do their own businesses or trying to do their own side hustles, which I respected. And I knew that because a lot of people was trying to come in at that time, if I didn't stick to my guns with this and just quit like everybody else, that it was just gonna be a dream wasted. So I knew from that there was gonna be a lot of people popping in and they was gonna pop right out, because this business is very, very tedious, and at times you will rethink yourself and think that, do you really wanna do this? And it's hard, it's not easy. So there was times where I really sat down and thought to myself if it was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I pushed through it, and I just stayed determined and I never gave up, and that's very important. You have to keep on going, because you could be right there and you could turn your back on your dream. So I stuck to it.
You could be just a quarter inch away from that goal, but once you stop, you would never know.
Absolutely. And there was definitely times where I thought about maybe pursuing something else, and then literally within days, it'll be a life-changing opportunity. So the way my business actually started was a godsend. It was just the stars aligning and things happened in perfect order at that time. And so I took advantage of it.
Yeah, we love to hear it too. So then what's been the biggest challenge since you started? Because you've had this brainchild happening for 7 years, but then 5-6 months ago, we finally made this dream happen.
Absolutely.
So what was the big challenge in that?
The biggest challenge was learning the things that I didn't know and to understanding the things that I didn't know. Because I did a lot of planning, and I did a lot of planning around the things that I understood and the things that I tried to grasp. But actually running the business and seeing different aspects, I had to really dig into the business part and the details, and that was the biggest challenge for me.
Because I couldn't even really wrap my mind. Just seeing some of those designs just off the get-go, they look amazing. I'm gonna put that out there.
Thank you.
And to make something look so clean and neat, I know that there's effort that had to be put into it.
Absolutely.
So can you walk us through like what a normal workday what a workday would be trying to make a few of those shirts?
Oh yeah, so there's two sides to the business, because on one end, I'm using my own creativity and I'm creating my own products. And at the same time, I'm doing custom work for other people, and mostly for their businesses. And so a normal day will be taking orders and just wrapping my head and maybe doing some graphic design. And that's probably my run-of-the-mill day for me.
Okay. Is there any advice?
Feeling all right? Here, try the Snickers. Better?
Aha! Where did you get those?
There were two over here. Wait. You can get them all at your grocery store for $3.99.
$3.99, you said.
Old Spice. Smell like a new man.
All right, guys, I'm gonna show you guys how to properly lay down a decal depending on your substrate. Today we're gonna use some acrylic, so that way you don't have any wrinkles or bubbles or anything inside your graphics when you finally lay it down. First thing you wanna do is preparation, because preparation is key. So we'll peel off this protective layer. We'll get rid of that. And we'll pull out our first decal here. So 3 things you're gonna need: tape, squeegee, and your blade. So what you wanna do first thing is get your positioning correct on your graphic. So you take probably 2 small pieces of tape just to hold down your graphic in place to where you may be happy with the position. Probably maybe a little bit more center. Alright, these are just to hold it down temporarily. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. And the next step will be, you're gonna divide your graphic in half with another strip of tape. Whatever's comfortable for you, whether you're a lefty or a righty, that's gonna determine the side that you start on. So for me, I'm a righty, and I'm more comfortable starting on the left side of the graphic because it's easier for me to work from right to left. So first thing what you want to do is squeegee down your graphic, make sure it's nice and tacked to the transfer tape. And then you're going to begin to peel it away from the backing. So this step, you might want to be a little bit careful and take your time. Make sure you don't leave anything behind or take off any part of the graphic that you want. Like right here is getting a little stuck, so we'll just work with it. And a lot of this stuff is muscle memory. You feel a lot of the materials and it'll tell you what angles it wants to move. So always pay attention to that. Take your blade and cut off the excess backing. You can get rid of that. And make sure you don't have any debris in the way that you're gonna be laying down. Now what we're gonna do is take the graphic, and this step is called glassing. You just wanna hold it just above where you're gonna be laying it, nice and flat. That way you could begin squeegeeing the graphic down. And when you're doing this, you wanna do it at an angle, and you wanna overlap, maybe in half an inch at a time. Definitely wanna take your time with it because this is something that could give you trouble if you try to rush it. So slowly squeegee down at this angle, overlapping every time you go. And always work an inch at a time the entire graphic. Don't work here and then here and then here, because it'll wrinkle up the transfer paper and it won't stick the way you plan on it sticking. So you don't have to put too much pressure, just enough to release all the air under the vinyl. And like I said, you feel it. Right here I feel the tension in the graphic, so I'm just working with it the way it's letting me. And at the end you can just give it an extra swipe and you're ready to do the second half. So you're gonna remove your center tape be careful here and try to do it the way I'm doing it here, like an angle, so you don't rip anything. And get rid of that. And now we're gonna repeat the process on the opposite side. This side's a little bit simpler sometimes. Just peel back the backing. And then kind of just let the last piece just kind of just fall off on its own. And same thing, we're gonna glass. You can flip the entire thing if you're not comfortable using your left hand, but bring the graphic down nice and flat and then start to squeegee inch by inch. Again, there's no one right way to do it. You can go left to right, up and down, depending on what you feel comfortable with, but you always want to do it evenly and with an even amount of pressure to release all the air bubbles. So this graphic was already printed and cut and masked for me, so that made it a little bit easier, but for most people just trying to stick a decal that they buy at home and it messes up on them, this is the proper way to apply it. Go way down to the end, and we'll just do one nice. Make sure all the air is out. And then slowly but surely peel at an angle to release your graphic from the transfer tape. If you could do it in one motion, the better. We'll just peel here. You can get rid of that. And for your final touches, any little spaces that you may see that's not all the way down, you can just go back over them quickly. And that is basically how it's done. I could pretty much wrap anything with any kind of images, from cars to game consoles, a mug, cups. It all depends on how creative you want to be with it. And this will be a quick finished product of a decal on some acrylic.
That's awesome. I love it.
Not bad, right? All right, so now we can show one more time. We can do it one more time. We have another graphic for you guys. Again, you're gonna remove a protective layer. All right. And you lay down your graphic. So I'm pretty happy with the position already, so we don't need to use extra tape. But you do want to divide the image. And as your preference, you can divide the image this way, this way. I usually like to do it width-wise because it gives me more to work with on each side. And again, to repeat the process, you always want to release any air bubbles from the transfer tape.
So I know you're doing this on the plastic sheet, but you doing this with shirts. How many can you do a day? Like on a good day?
Well, that's another challenge for me as a new business owner and everything. Is I am limited by the amount I can do alone.
Yeah.
So I guess my record so far was about 600 shirts in one day.
Jeez.
And that was one of the nights that made me really think about it. This is something that I wanted to do. And I pushed through it, and I'm glad I did. because the reward is definitely better, and it doesn't really matter what it is you choose to do, but if it's something that you have passion about and you make it come to fruition, the benefit definitely outweighs those days of hard work.
Yeah, we can definitely see that.
And it's fun. It's definitely fun. You know, once you get past the heartache, it's a fun job. And I encourage more people to get into this industry because it is hard for me to find passionate workers workers, because most people just want to work and go home. I don't expect anybody to have the same amount of passion for a job as I do. So it is hard to find another artist. So these are your main tools though. Your blade and your squeegee. You do pretty much everything. I do entire cars with just these two tools, so it's definitely something that's affordable to learn. And if you want to learn everything, man, YouTube. I learned everything on YouTube. That's how it all started. For the most part, I'm most self-taught and YouTube. Because again, in any type of artistic industry, nobody's gonna tell you the tips and the tricks. Those are things you have to find out for yourself. And be careful for this. You don't wanna have your tape sticking to each other like I just did right there. So just peel this away. And this vinyl is very forgiving, so if you make any mistakes, you could take a heat gun and warm it up just for a couple of seconds, and it'll mold back right into its original form. So you should be able to fix most mistakes that way. And again, always overlap about 1 inch, covering what you already did.
So that designing your sweater, you did that yourself too, right?
Yes, I designed this entire sweater down to the F.I.R.S.T crystals, this glow-in-the-dark vinyl, and some reflective vinyl.
Oh yeah.
So it's a balance between screen printing and vinyl, because there's certain specialty vinyls that stand out that you can't do in ink. So
Yeah.
for instance, like glow-in-the-dark or metallic sort of colors.
Has there been any difficult material you've had to work on?
Absolutely. So, like with anything, you pay for what you get for. So the cheaper materials are definitely harder to work with. They're not impossible to work with, but I'm glad that I started there, because in the beginning I didn't have the money to really fund what I wanted to do. So I started with the cheap materials, and I learned basically under the most difficult conditions. And so now when I have the proper tools and proper materials, the jobs come out a lot better. But again, there's new technologies and new materials coming out every day in the industry. New vinyls, new inks, new machines. And so I always try to stay up on the trends so I don't get left behind. And there you go. You always go back over and maybe put a little heat on this with a heat gun just to make sure it's sealed in. And that's how you lay down a graphic. There you go. We have two sides.
Okay. I love it. That's awesome. And Marvin's my boy.
There you go. So yeah. All right. I don't know what you guys want to do next.
Well, what I want to know is, because evidently you've been through a lot. So I want to know if there's any advice you would tell anyone wanting to get into this, or even tell your younger self.
Absolutely. There's three big parts of advice. Always stay open to learning new things. Always. 2, you have to do the work. You have to do the work because that's the most important part. You could read all the books. You could do all the manifesting. You could use the law of attraction. But until you get out there and do the work, that's where the reward will pay off. And lastly, don't give up. Like I said before, you have to stay with your dream. It could be 10 years down the line. Stick to it. Because those same people that you kept telling those dreams to, they'll see the dedication. You know, 1 year later, 2 years later, 10 years later, you're still sticking to it. There's something to it. There's something to that. And it counts for all of us to just stay vigilant on your dreams and don't let them go. Because we know it's very easy to let them slip between our fingers nowadays. And so something like this is very simple and it'll make somebody happy. So why not?
Yeah.
All right.
So do you come up with original designs yourselves, or
I do.
I imagine people bring them up to you, but
Absolutely. So it's like I said before, it's 2 ends to the business. One half is me doing my own custom designs and trying to push my own artwork out there, and the other half is catering to customers. I do a lot of businesses, mostly businesses that want advertisements or signage or work shirts. That's probably one of my main customers. But I also work with people who are trying to build their own brands. And so they appreciate my creative side and bringing what I bring to the table, because most people are just like, you know, give me your image, I'll print it and stick it and out the door. I'll actually work with you and I'll design something around your ideas. And most of the time people are like, they're like, I can't believe it, that's better than what I imagined. And that's what that's where I get my pleasure from, and that's what makes me smile. So I try to strive for that every time.
yeah, that serotonin hits when they come back and they're like, yo.
Yeah, I
this
love
is good.
repeat customers, and I love the look on their face when they see and they're like,
Yeah.
nice, you know, or they look at the car and they're like, yeah. So it's rewarding in that sense, and you don't get that in most other jobs or careers or industries. So that's definitely a bonus and a plus in what we do.
Is there any, do you want to plug any like social media where we can see your artwork, or?
Absolutely. So all my social medias and on website are all the same. It's at sharkshyte.com, and Shark Shyte for the Facebook and the Instagram, TikTok and Snapchat. So just follow us and just see if you like anything, and I look forward to working with you guys. All right, man. Thank you.
So seeing all that, I mean, we only seen half the job, but there's a lot of, I can imagine the responsibility behind all that. How do you handle that stress?
It gets to me at times. So what I do there is I dig deep and I remember the whys, why I'm doing this and the reasons why I got into this in the first place. And sometimes you got to step away and give yourself a break, do something else, and then return to the project, because it is stressful at times. And for me, I'm really a one-man army, and I'm running all aspects of the business. So it's running the business and taking the orders and doing the artwork and performing the actual installations, and so it takes its toll. But you know, you got to remember, this is what you're here for, you know, and when you're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner and you have a dream, this is the work that you have to put in. And so when you hit those moments that it's hard and it's difficult and it's stressful, that means you're heading in the right direction. So I encourage making the mistakes and doing the work and pushing through it. That's the main part.
Yeah, because being an entrepreneur in any business, that's a lot on your shoulders.
It is.
You know,
it is.
You gotta do your research. You gotta make sure YouTube University gives us all the right information, right? But I imagine just being an entrepreneur, you probably had to have read some books. Is there anything you'd recommend?
Absolutely. There's a couple of books off the top of my head that they made me think differently about money. So one book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was a pretty good book. Made me see money in a different light. And also, another good book would be, let me see, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we have Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's another good book, because it taught me about money, but more than anything, it taught me how to think about money. And using money in a different sense for business, to leverage it in your own advantage it was awakening for me, because before it was just, you know, chasing money, spending money, trying to save money, and it doesn't really work like that. If you know what you're doing, you can use money and make it work in your advantage.
Exactly, because we want to multiply that and then live comfy.
Absolutely.
You know? Well, I'm more curious about, because I know your brother Jay, and he has opinions, but Sony or Microsoft?
Sony or Microsoft? Oh man, I'm gonna have to go with Sony, only because I have investments, and I'm also a PlayStation 5 owner. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Sony. Not to say that they both aren't great.
No, Microsoft got some good stuff too.
Yeah, I
but,
have Microsoft products as well. So.
So then, what's been the game that you've been playing then on? I know as a business owner, you probably don't have a lot of time, but I know you got a game.
Absolutely, like I said before, pop culture influences me. I'm into the movies, I'm into music, I'm into games. I watch a ton of anime. So
let's go.
I'm usually right now I'm a Soulsborne fan. I'm playing Souls games. So Elden Ring is a game I'm working on right now, and I like the difficulty, because these games super difficulty, and then when you progress, is a sense of reward. You're like, got you.
That's an allegory in life too.
Yeah, no, it's great.
You hit those walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure that every time you hit a wall, like with your business, you're like, no, I know I can get past through this.
And it's funny you say that, because just in general, I apply that in life. When anything gets a little difficult, I always say in the back of my mind, like, well, it ain't Soulsborne hard, it ain't Dark Souls hard.
Exactly.
So, I push through it, and I'm happy that I'm able to do the things I want to do in life.
So, and because of that, now I want to know what your definition of success would be.
My definition of success is on the front layer, it'll probably be the successful business with the money flowing and the financial freedom. But beyond that, for me, it's laying a foundation for the new generation, my younger siblings, and breaking the cycle in my family, and showing that we can be what we want to be, and giving a head start to those behind me. Like, I'm gonna be the trailblazer. I'll take the bumps and bruises. I'll mow the grass, so that way those behind me can have a better start than I did, and hopefully carry it further. And that's the definition of success: is having the more people that you create success for, is my definition of success for myself. So the more people around me who I can bring up and allow to thrive, then I feel like I'm doing my job.
Gotcha. And you want to help inspire that to other people too.
Absolutely, because they say the top is lonely. Who wants to be alone at the top? So bring the gang.
I feel that. What more? Maybe not so more importantly, but I'm more curious than anything. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me? As a person, I have to say my father inspired me in my younger years, pushing me to play baseball and showing me that there was more to the world, and the teamwork and showing me his passion. And seeing his passion for it allowed me to accept that it's okay to explore my own passions and to feel comfortable pursuing them and not to feel like it's not something that's worth it and just go the traditional route. I feel like you should dream big. Everybody dream big, go for the big dreams and you know, don't stop.
Exactly, because if we stop, someone's gonna fill that void, you know?
Absolutely.
So then what's the future for your business then? What are we looking like?
Well, this is just the beginning. I plan to open more locations and I plan on adding more aspects to the business. And I plan on opening different businesses as well. So in the future, maybe you'll see me doing something bigger, something new.
Of course.
And I appreciate the time you guys gave me here today. So,
is there any special shout outs you want to give before we wrap this up?
Just to my little brother, man. He's doing really good. He's doing his thing in production school, and hopefully he follows his dreams the same way I'm following mine, and that's why I'm doing this for, just to put that example and to instill that into them.
Gotcha. We love to hear it, man. Thanks for
Absolutely.
thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
I
showing.
appreciate it.
And we're looking forward to the future.
Absolutely, definitely. I appreciate it, man. You know, and just, you know, come stop by. I make all types of stuff. You can see the sweater. Everything's handmade, and the back is embroidered as well.
Woo, that's clean.
So,
I love
you know,
that.
if you have a brand or you have some ideas, you know, hit the website and I'll work with you. All right, guys. Eric Cruz, Shark Shyte Entertainment.
Capping like the narco. Got dope like Pablo. Cut dope like Pablo. Shot trees with the Draco. On the north got Diego. Say hasta luego. We'll be in rapping kilo. Snub nose with potato. Take out. No monkey in the jungle, blind hot like a sauna. Bouncing off and I'm trying to weep an anaconda. Jumping in the water, trying to slip across the water glass. See yours out, got me beat by F.I.R.S.T. Out bag of money, knew I gotta have it. Savage, but I'm still a gentleman in the Cali. Nigga turn a million about the cabbage. Till it's all family, they run off with the package. I just put a pack when I'm with a Bogota. Fuck his eyes out, and I'm telling what he saw. I'ma watch out, I don't know if he'll talk. Get a chainsaw and I'ma saw our legs off. They know that we're a gang, but they say that we're a ring. Investigating, taking pictures of the whole thing. Undercover trying to do his thing. Sitting there on a plane, going straight to Medellin. Trapping like the narco. Got dope like Pablo. Cut dope like Pablo. Shot trees with the Draco. On the north got Diego. Say hasta